All right, guys, welcome to the ARWP podcast, the All Real Wrestling Podcast. I am your co host, Eric Novak, and I'm here with your special guest, your Harley Quinn of hate, one half of the unguided Damian Drake. Damian, how
Hey,
are you
what's going on,
today?
man? I'm doing very well. Just got done doing a photo shoot, so I'm on my way home right now.
All right, that's awesome, man. I'm a huge fan, and I got so many awesome questions for you today, man. My
Can't wait
uh,
to hear them.
my friend Jason Smith wrote half of these down, so credit goes to him. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Jason.
All right. So the first one, what gave you the idea of combining the DC universe and wrestling into one gimmick?
A lot of that was a mixture of like me and my dad together. When I was born, my dad practically implanted wrestling into my head, like ever since I was born. And I grew up, as far as I can go back and remember. I remember watching like WCW first, and what caught my attention with wrestling was Sting when he just debuted like as the Crow gimmick, Sting.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was always a big. I was from there. That was kind of my introduction into like the dark characters, dark superheroes, and kind of vigilantes in a type of way. And Batman was always my number one favorite comic book character I could just read over and over. So when I first started coming up with the character, I knew from the start, like I wanted to do a superhero, and I wanted to do it very based off of Nightwing. As much as I love Batman, I was always a big fan of the sidekicks, and Dick Grayson, the first Robin, was always my like number one like favorite. And like seeing him go from like he was a sidekick to being his own superhero, like I thought that was like really cool. Like it was an awesome like transition from him being, just the partner in crime to like, no, I'm going to be my own superhero. So for a while, I had the name, but I didn't have the look yet. So when I first started, I was just like generic wrestler, like 27. Like I had biker shorts and kick pads, and that was all my gear.
Was that the time when you were tagging with TJP?
Yes, that was the time when I was tagging with TJP. Yeah, wow, like you're like probably the only person that remembers that right now, to be honest.
Bro, TJP is one of my favorite wrestlers. He's actually what made me fall in love with wrestling. And when I actually saw that you were tagging with him for ROH and for other independent promotions, I was so stoked about that. I was trying to find some of the matches online. I found a couple of them. I was really, really entertained.
Yeah, we only had like I think at that time when I was tagging with him, I was about like 6 months in, so I was still very new, very new. He was such a cool dude. I see him from time to time, and he's still very cool, man. So those were some good times. Man, I haven't even seen those matches in like forever too. So I'm probably gonna have to go find those myself and watch them to see how terrible I was back then.
Nah, man, I thought you were great. Actually, I thought both you and him had such good chemistry, and you guys are both in FSW. I really, really can't want to see you guys do a one-on-one.
We've been trying to for a while. Like we've come so close, like so many times, and then like last minute changes happen. So, but it's still out in the open. So who knows? Maybe it might happen at the next Mecca, or maybe I'll come jump him at Impact or something. Who knows, man?
Speaking of Impact, I saw, it's crazy because I'm a huge Chris Bay fan as well, but for some reason, during his debut, I was more excited just to see you there. That was really cool to see that.
No, yeah, it's funny. Like, that's probably the third time Chris and I have wrestled against each other. And as much as, like, it was his debut, and, everybody was so proud of him. Like, I had somebody, like, of those same people come up to me and, like, hey, man, like, we know this was Chris's debut, but, like, you did awesome against him, and you made him look like $1 million, and you look like $1 million. And that was really cool, because I've done Impact, like, 2 other times, too, but I've never heard any feedback like that before. So that was a really cool thing. And I knew if the roles were switched, it was my debut and he was in my position, he would do the same thing for me. So it was a very cool moment for not only him, but for me as well, man.
I feel like you guys had more of a chemistry than like if you wrestled anyone else. I've seen more matches of you and him, like countless. Like you said, you guys wrestled 3 more times. I've seen,
Yeah.
a couple of them, and you guys have really good chemistry. And I know you guys are like friends in real life as well.
No, yeah, and I think that's what makes at least his and I's matches like different too. Is because like don't get me wrong, like there's matches you'll see on a card or a show, and they could be great matches, but the chemistry probably like won't really like pull the fans in. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the very first time we wrestled, and it was literally named like first time ever. Like from the minute like he came out and I came out, and then we went to the back after the match. Like the crowd was just on fire. Never a dull never dull, never quiet. It was a very cool experience. I said it in a podcast that I did like 2 days ago. Like that's probably hands down probably my favorite match in my career so far was that match with him.
All right. Well, that crosses out one of my questions.
Okay.
That's funny. So you said staying from WCW mainly influenced you, right? From day one.
I wouldn't really say it was just WCW. I mean, definitely Sting was definitely a big influence. Like he like just the fact that he was able to like tell a story with just like one expression on his face
Mm-hmm.
what really captured me. And then of course I of course was growing up during the Monday Night Wars and stuff, so I don't really remember a whole lot, but I've gone back and I've watched the whole entire Monday Night Wars thing. The Hardy Boys, mainly Jeff Hardy, was like another inspiration. Just he was willing to do anything and everything just to like win, or he put his body through so much, but he was able to still stand up like at the end. He was definitely another inspiration too. And when Impact was like in its prime, AJ Styles. I mean, he still is nowadays, but AJ Styles is also another inspiration of mine too. Just the fact that he can go out and he can have like an awesome match with anybody. It's just that's to me. I was like, I want to be that guy. Like I want to be able to go out there and just put on an awesome match, whether the fans like me or they like the other dude more. Doesn't matter.
All right. How do you feel about
Yeah.
AJ and the Undertaker at Mania?
I don't know how I feel about the one, to be honest.
No, I have the same reaction. I'm not like
Yeah.
crazy about it because of the circumstance. That like the age, the year it is. Like they're not in their prime. Like Taker's not really in his prime to hit. A 5-star, and it's also like, it's the timing. I feel like the timing is very wrong right now.
Yeah, and for me, what really does it, man, like I'm sure probably a lot of other people feel different about it. Is like the last Mania that Taker did, and he retired. Like for me, I was like, okay, well, I was like, all right, Undertaker's done. Like for me, I was like, that was it for Undertaker. And and don't get me wrong, I love seeing the Undertaker when he wrestles and stuff. But for me, I just really felt like when he retired, like, and he came back, like, not even like a year after. It was like a couple months after. It kind of killed it for me in a way. I was like, man, you went out in such an awesome way, and now I'm sure there's probably like he's got some good reasons why he's coming back. But for me, it's just not the same. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you. I hear you 100%. I agree with you 100%.
100%. I'm sure the match they're gonna have will be just as good as any other Undertaker match or as any other AJ Styles match.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's good about it is it's very different styles.
Yeah.
I don't want to say AJ is like a high flyer, but like the stuff he can do against Undertaker, I feel like it's really gonna not only is it gonna elevate like AJ in a way, but it also maybe could elevate Undertaker in like kind of a way too.
I hear you. I agree with you. I think those are all great points, and I agree with you 100% on those. All right, next question. You've wrestled a lot over the indie scene. Any goals you have set for yourself? I told you this would be hard.
Yeah, probably my main goal. My my main goal, once everything kind of picks back up because of the whole pandemic we're kind of going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
So my main goal is to just get around and take over. Just by the end of the match or by the end of the day, you're gonna know who Damian Drake is or who the Unguided is. You know, so that's my main goal once everything picks back up. My end goal, I would say, is to eventually wrestle for New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Or after that, after I do like a tour or two with New Japan Pro Wrestling, I would love to wrestle with AEW.
All right.
So, yeah.
That's interesting. Wow. This is a side question only because I'm curious. You've been on Impact for around 3 times. Would you consider going to Impact if the offer was there?
Yeah, I would. If the offer was there, you know, I'd be able. I would consider it for sure, 100%. I'm not gonna, you know, just say no. Like, this is what I want to do. I'm gonna go straight to that. Like, I would love to at least wrestle everywhere at least once. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I would. Yeah, if the offer was up there and you know it was something I can work with and they could work with, and yeah, for sure.
All right, awesome. Any dream matches from past, present, or future wrestlers? If you had to give yourself anyone to put in the ring with you.
Past wise, I would have to definitely. Past wise, I would definitely say either Sting or Shawn Michaels.
Mm-hmm.
Present. Ooh, it's a tough one. Present, I probably would want to say AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
Future, Kenny Omega.
Oh wow! All right.
Yeah. Okay. Let me. So, past wise, Shawn Michaels or Sting. Present, AJ Styles or Jeff Hardy. And then future, Kenny Omega.
All right. I you know, it's crazy because I would love to see any of these matches. I think you literally gave me the best guys. These are literally the best guys I can see on the list. Wow.
Yeah, it's literally a lot of the guys. All of those guys is really like my favorites. I love watching no matter what match it is. But yeah, those are the guys I would want to have some dream matches.
Wow. I hope to see some of these. I really do. Kenny Omega definitely. You know.
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy hopefully. AJ Styles.
Yeah.
All right. Competition is needed in the business. What drives you to continue doing what you do?
Even though I went through this transition right now, it's definitely the fans. It's definitely the fans is what really drives me because I'm one of those. I love to feed off the energy of the crowd. You know what I mean? Whether I'm a heel or whether I'm a baby face, like I love to feel the energy, and that's what really drives me. It's really the fans that drives me. Is what really keeps me going.
That's awesome. That's the best.
Because if the fans aren't really connecting with you in any way, then you know what are you really doing this for? You know what I mean?
Yep, I agree.
I was always told if you're in this for the money, get out. You know, and I've never really been in it for the money. I've been in it like I want to be able to entertain people, whether they hate me or they love me.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's awesome. I know that's the best answer. Like I'm shocked because you know a lot of people would say something else. But fans is definitely the best answer. I feel like that's the truth, and I feel like that's
like if you put it in retrospective, like without the fans, like where like I mean obviously right now like some promotions out there are entertaining the fans as we have Twitch and we have like the internet and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they're still putting on matches without the fans is cool. But if you think about like decades ago, like if they didn't have the fans, where would pro wrestling be right now?
That is true. That is very true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And money's only going to get you so far.
I agree. I really like your promos. Yeah. You made a promo yesterday, the one about you guys locked in the room, like you guys are just in the room. That was really funny. So yeah,
Yeah,
you got to keep it alive. You know, you got to
yeah.
give fans
And
the
that's another
waiting for
thing.
them to come
Like
back.
that's another thing too. Like with that video, like everybody's taking advantage of the coronavirus, and like I wish nobody gets this. I wish everybody safety. I hope if you feel sick, please stay home. Please be safe, take care of yourself. But the fact that wrestling promotions, they're still putting on shows for people to watch at home, that's cool. But like promo wise, like nobody's taking advantage of it. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So me and my partner were just like, hey, we might as well, like, let's just do one. Like, let's take advantage of it. So it was a lot of fun, and we were laughing like doing it. So it was pretty
Yeah,
funny.
I really liked it too. I was like laughing the whole time. It was hilarious in my opinion. Oh my god. Yeah, you guys are really entertaining to watch. I love the whole unguided. We'll talk about that though in a few other questions that I have about your
For sure.
transition. When did you start training to be a professional wrestler? Because I know, I watched, your recent podcast. I don't want to watch too much of it because I don't want to spoil anything for myself today. But I know you talked about, yeah, I know you talked about a lot about, training and your dad. Can you give me some more insight on that?
Yeah. Before I ever started, my dad is really close friends with Funny Bone. So they worked together for a minute, and then while Funny Bone was still wrestling, and my dad even trained for 2 years as well. But my younger brother and I, we started getting into sports in high school and all that stuff. So he didn't want to miss out on all that. After I graduated, he I want to say it was maybe a year after I graduated, Funny Bone called up my dad. And he was like, hey, man, I'm doing a show with Sin Bodhi. We need, like, a manager spot. Would Damian be cool with it? And I was like, oh. And he was like, yeah, let me ask him. My dad asked me, and I was like, oh, yeah, cool. I'd love to do it. And my dad told me, he's like, cool, Funny Bone said to wear your douchiest outfit you can think of. I was like, okay. So that night I was going through my closet. I was going through my stuff. So what I came up with was a black pair of skinny jeans. At the time, this was about mid-2015 or so, I want to say. Excuse me. At that time, for some reason in my head, douchebags wore purple. I don't know why.
I feel like it's because like the villains, like Riddler, Joker, like a lot of them.
Like probably, and like that was kind of like the whole like Justin Bieber phase and all that shit going on. And he wore purple, and I was just like, he's a douchebag. He wears purple. So I was just like, all right, cool, some purple. So I had like purple and black Vans. I had like a purple DC skateboarding shirt and like a gray Famous hat and sunglasses. And I was like, all right, this is douchebag enough. Cool.
I'm ready.
I just dressed like some, but like people that I went to high school with. So, excuse me. So the next day, I get dropped off at the show. I see Funny Bone. I meet Sin that day, and Sin looks at me. He looks me up and down. Looks at Funny Bone and goes, "So this is my Justin Bieber?" And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like I couldn't get away from it in high school, and like that was my first gimmick ever in pro wrestling was Justin Bieber.
That's hilarious.
I was managing Bieber security, which was fantastic. So that was my first taste in pro wrestling, doing a pro wrestling show ever. It was so much fun, and I met Chavo Guerrero that night, and he was doing a seminar at FSW the next day. He was like, "You should come down, check it out, like and stuff." I was like, "Yeah, cool." So I went to the seminar the next day, and that was the first time I did the rolls, the bombs, everything, and it really took a toll on my body. I was about 18 going on 19 at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. 3 days later, I signed up with FSW, and 6 years later, here I am.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story. A lot of wrestlers don't have that kind of story that you do. So it's really cool that you have a story to tell like that.
Thank you.
So Form is really big when it comes to wrestling. Like you're either a high flyer, submission based. What would be your form of wrestling? What suits you best?
See, when I started out, I was a high flyer when I first started. Mainly because I still am, but at the time I was really big into like doing parkour and stuff. So I was really trying to incorporate that with my wrestling, and I kind of caught on with some of the stuff with wrestling real quickly, just because I did parkour. I also did track and field when I was in high school, so that was really helpful. Excuse me. So yeah, so at the time for like the first 4 years of my career, I was just a high flyer. Not what high flying is nowadays. I was a very basic high flyer, is what you'll say. And then lately, like transitioning in this past year with the new look and all that stuff, I've been kind of more grounded. I've been kind of more of a I guess you can really say a brawler in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But what I call my style is aggressive high flying. So I use it. I only use it when I need it, and when I do use it, it's very hard hitting. So I don't know if it's just if I'm creating a style or if it's already a style, but I call it aggressive high flying.
I never heard anything like that. So I think you are creating it. I think it's really sick that you're creating it. Me and my friend,
Cool.
Dylan, who does this podcast, we always talk about like forms. Like he's a huge Zack Sabre Jr. fan. And I'm a huge TJP fan. They all have their technician. So a lot of them have
Right.
high flying. We've never heard of aggressive high flyer. And I've seen some of
Yeah.
your matches, and I could tell what that means now. Like I understand exactly what you mean by that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. So, all right, I guess I created a style of aggressive high flying.
That's awesome.
There we go.
Man. All right. Wrestling is definitely changing in 2020. When it comes to pressure, do you stress on not making someone's expectations, or do you overcome and out for yourself every time?
See, I really try not to think about that stuff too much because I feel like if you think about that, even before you go out and do a match, it's really gonna. Excuse my French, but I really feel like it's gonna fuck with your head.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I really try not to focus on doing that. What I really try to when I go to a show and I ask the promoter, "Hey man, nice to meet you," or "How you doing, man? It's good to see you again. What would you like tonight?" And then they give me what they want for the match tonight, and then I go out and then I just go out there and I do the best I can to make sure it's a good match with what he wants, and I know it's going to be how he wants it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I really try to focus on. I don't really try to think of like, oh my God, is it going to be this good? Is this guy going to take it this good? Am I going to perform? Am I going to, you know what I mean? So I really try not to think about all that stuff. I really just try to focus on like, I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to put on the best match I can.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Really really what I try to focus on. Because if I focus on all the other stuff, I feel like it's going to mess with my head and it's not going to come out as good as I want it to be.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah. I mean, that's good to hear. It's good that you stick to what doesn't affect you, and it's great. It shouldn't. It shouldn't, fuck you over. It should definitely be something that you choose to do and enjoy. All right, so we're gonna get out of these like tough wrestling questions because I feel like I've been hassling you. Let's get to some.
No, not at all. Not at all. This is probably the past couple of days have probably been the most I've talked about wrestling for a while. So.
You don't know how long I've been wanting to like get this interview with you since 2 weeks ago since we talked. Like it's crazy.
No, that's cool, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it for real.
No, I appreciate you being on here, man. All right, so we're gonna get to the DC superhero questions, and some of them do have something to do with wrestling. So
okay,
you don't know this, but my favorite superhero of all time is Dick Grayson Robin, also, and it's because of every time I was a kid, I'd come home from school and I'd watch Teen Titans, and that's basically what immediately made me fall in love.
The original Teen Titans cartoon.
The original, yeah. I would never
Okay.
talk about Go. I mean the original Teen Titans. That's like what made me where I am today when it comes to DC. He's
All right,
by
good.
far my favorite character.
I don't have to hang up the phone on you if you were going to talk about Teen Titans Go.
No, no, I'm sorry. We're not doing that. No one.
Thank God.
I disagree. Like, let me tell you a story. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I was on vacation and I didn't even know about Teen Titans Go, and I'm in the hotel in the room and I'm watching the whatever was playing, and there was like a promo or for like, the summertime special coming up, and I see it's like you get the original and they show you the original ones. And look, it's coming, it's bigger, it's this, and then they show me the actual artwork. Like they show you the actual artwork that's gonna be for Go, and I literally took the remote, turned on the TV, and I literally left the hotel for like maybe a good 4 hours because I was just so upset with what they did and how they.
No, I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, when I discovered it, for me it was the same thing. Somebody was like, "Yo, did you check out the new Teen Titans?" I was like, "It's back? Are you kidding me?" And they were like, "Yeah, it's back. Go check it out." So I think I went home that night and I couldn't find it, so I like YouTubed it, like a clip, and I was like, "What the hell is this? This isn't what I was talking about." I was so disappointed in it. I was so disappointed.
You're not the only one. I feel like the diehard fans all were disappointed.
Oh, I know. And then when I discovered the live action Teen Titans or the Titans.
Oh, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I don't wanna ruin it. But yeah, Titans is definitely something we're gonna talk about.
All right.
Okay, so I've always wanted to know this because I did research on you, because I did all these matches. I saw before you did the Nightwing tattoo, you had a different tattoo. The Nightwing was, done after the original one that was on your back, right?
Right.
So what was the story behind the Nightwing logo?
Okay. So the original tattoo that I had. So actually, I'll tell you the Nightwing tattoo that you see on my back now. It's a cover up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a cover up. So the original design that's underneath it represents Nightwing still, but I drew the drawing up in high school. Like I was like, this is what I want for my 18th birthday. I want a tattoo, and so I drew up like an original Nightwing design that I did. I did it very like tribal looking for some reason. Like tribal tattoos, I love them.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically took the head and body of like another tattoo of another bird tribal tattoo, and the wings were my zodiac sign, which is an Aquarius. So I looked up a tribal like Aquarius like logo, what you want to call it, and I looked at it. So I flipped it upside down, and then I just doubled it. So I mirrored it basically, and that was what the wings were. So that was what the original tattoo was, and then it just, as I got older and grew and stuff, it like the artwork was just kind of showing how kind of crappy done it was. I don't like talking bad about it because like my mom's cousin's husband did it for me.
I didn't think it was bad. I actually thought it did have something. I did think it had something to do with Nightwing. Like, because I watched this. I think it was like one of your matches against Spider Warrior. I think it was exactly that match actually, and I could tell it was in the form of the same Nightwing logo. I just didn't know like what from where it was. So now it's actually interesting that you explained to me how and where that was formed and how it was created, which is very interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah. So after a while, I was just like, I guess I should like try to get it redone. Sin Bodhi actually did the cover up for me. So because he does his own tattoos and stuff, he's actually done like all my tattoos that I have on me.
Oh wow.
I was like, hey man, like I'm looking to kind of get this like, redone or touch up or whatever. We talked and he was like, hey man, like what if we do it like, what if we make it look like Nightwing? He's like, I'll make an actual Nightwing logo. And he was like, what if we like make it look like it was like paint splattered on you? And I was like, oh, that'd actually be that would be pretty sick. So the way how he was going to do it is he was going to apply the whole bird first, and then he was going to apply like what the paint blocks would be, I guess you call them. Like the paint splatter. As he was filling it up, he was just like, oh, this actually looks like way more badass. And I was like, let me see. So he takes a picture of it, and like half of it was like all like filled in and painted or inked. And I was like, I was like, oh, that actually does look way better. He's like, you want to keep it like this? I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And so that's what it is now.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I'm actually so glad I got to hear that story. All right. This is one that
I'm hoping to get a new tattoo soon. Hopefully, it might be a Harley Quinn logo. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a couple questions about like tattoos, and we'll get to that. It's about DC kind of related stuff. So this question is really big for me personally because, like I said, Robin's my favorite. I watched a lot of your matches. I know you came out with a Nightwing inspired jacket, Nightwing inspired mask, pants, and the announcer would always say you're from Bloodhaven, which if you're a DC fan, you know that's where Robin, aka Dick Grayson, left to become Nightwing. And I just wanted to know what inspired you to do that, to take up a whole role and make that into your DC, like wrestling gimmick.
You pretty much said it yourself, man. Like, you were a big Dick Grayson fan. I was a big Dick Grayson fan. I still am a big Dick Grayson fan. So I really wanted to for me, I was like, at the time, like, they weren't really doing anything live action with, like, Nightwing or Dick Grayson at all. So for me, I was just like, maybe, like, I'll be the live action Nightwing in pro wrestling.
That's awesome.
So that was kind of like just the whole inspiration. I was just like, I'm going to be the Nightwing in pro wrestling. Like, I'll be Nightwing. Screw everybody else that tries to be Nightwing. Like, I'm the only one. So that was really the whole inspiration right there. It's like, I just wanted to, if no TV show or movie was going to bring him to life anytime soon, I was like, fuck it. I'm going to be the live action Nightwing.
I love that. I really love that.
Obviously, I couldn't take the Dick Grayson name. So coming up with the name...
Whoa. I gotta ask, because it's actually the question right after this. The name Damian Drake, was that a coincidence, or did you use Damian Wayne and Tim Drake to inspire your name?
No, we actually used Damian Wayne and Tim Drake. Yeah.
Oh, you actually did that? That was actually...
Yeah,
wow, I got that right.
Took that.
Wow.
I took it because like it was so fitting, and I wanted another reason to use like the Daredevil logo in a way.
The DDs, yeah.
with the DDs, yeah. So coming up with the name, my dad and I were talking. We were just kind of hanging out, and he was like, "What do you want to do for your name?" And like I was so strict on keeping it like Robin based. So one of the first names I almost did was R.J. Grayson, and the R.J. was going to be Richard Jason, and then Grayson. And I was like, oh, that's probably not fitting. And then my dad was like, what if you do something with like something Todd or Jason something? And I was just like, no, like I don't like. We couldn't figure out anything. And then he was just like, dude, Damian Drake. And the way how he said it in my head, it was like opening a briefcase with like the golden light, and I was like, oh, that's so perfect. So that's how we came up with it. We literally sat for like, I think 2 hours just trying to come up with a name.
That's awesome. I honestly love the name, and the minute I heard your name, I automatically saw that you the whole Nightwing thing, and I'm like, it had to be Damian Wayne and Tim Drake. Like, that's literally I just had this huge feeling. That's awesome. That's crazy.
No, yeah, like, and what's funny too is like some people would come up to me and they're like, "Hey, Damian Drake, is that Damian Wayne and Tim Drake?" And I was like, "You're correct." And they'd be like, "Fuck yeah!" And then there would be other people that'd be like, "Hey, so where's that name from?" And I'm just like, "You guys suck. You don't know where it's from." And then so I also teach kids class at FSW.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first started teaching the kids class, and they heard my name, the kids would always mess around with me and said that I came up with Damian Drake from Looney Tunes Back in Action. Like, because Brendan Fraser's character, his dad, his name is Damian Drake.
Yeah.
And it's spelled the exact same. So they'd be like, "You didn't get it from comics, you got it from Looney Tunes." And I'd be like, "No, I didn't."
It's funny.
So, yeah.
All right.
Here I have a lot of stories just with my name in general.
Hey man, if we got time, I really want to listen to all of those. This question's a pretty difficult one. Take your time with this one. So, I know that you teamed up with Spider Warrior. You called yourselves the Midnight Marvels. I also heard the last podcast you guys named that because you needed DC and Marvel, so you came up with the Midnight Marvels. The change. So you were a vigilante hero type, and now I'm not gonna say you're a bad guy. You're in the unguided. You're trying to find your own path. You're trying to do your own thing and trying to, maybe cause a little chaos, maybe cause a little carnage. But how does that shift work from being, super, hero, vigilante to being part of the unguided, trying to find yourself with Matt Vandekrift?
So the transition actually wasn't really that hard. The past like year or two, I've been kind of having this feeling and kind of noticing it through some fans and promoters and stuff that I really wasn't getting the looks or like the opportunities I should have been getting. You know what I mean? So I had a lot of like just anger and stress and some frustration built up just inside, and I was just I didn't know. There was a point where I was just sitting there. I was just like, I don't really know. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to. I don't really know what I'm gonna do. It was literally like before I had the triple threat ladder match with Ice and Remy. I was just like, I don't know what's next. Like whatever happens, I don't know what's next. And then when I got pushed off the ladder and I crashed through the table, before I passed out and was like apparently carried out, I saw Remy at the top of the ladder, and he has like his fingertips right near the belt, and the only thing I could hear was the fans and how mind blown or how excited they were for him getting the belts. And then I passed out right there. But really, that last moment, I was just kind of like, I kind of sat there and I was just like, I wonder why, and a part of me understands why, because he practically made FSW. They've seen him grown just as much as they've seen me grown at FSW. So, and then there was a couple weeks where I was just kind of, injured and recovering. And then I'm looking through social media. Even my fiance was looking through social media. And we see the fans are all smiling and taking pictures with the new No Limits champion, but nobody is really concerned about me. And nobody's really checking up on me, besides some close friends of mine outside of wrestling and my family. And that really registered, and that really sat really in deep inside too, because I was like, I've done everything for you guys. I've even told myself, like, I represent you guys. I'm one of you. I used to represent of the fans in a way of like, it doesn't matter how small, how big, what size you are, you can do it as long as you follow through with it. And, after seeing all that on social media and just kind of playing back in my head with that moment after I fell through the table, and even going back and watching the match online, at that moment, that's where I was like, you know what? If the fans are gonna be like that, then screw the fans. Screw the fans. And the way how the Unguided came about is, before the Unguided started coming and, interrupting matches and jumping, and we were jumping people, I saw Matt, one of his last matches, he was just kind of going through the same thing, because nobody was giving Matt a chance to shine. All they ever cared about when I was in the ring too, was flippy shit. All they ever cared about. And never got a chance to see what Matt can do. I've seen what Matt can do. Matt can do so many things, but all everybody and anybody cares about is the flippy shit. So we got together after one of his last matches, and I just kind of laid it out. I was just like, hey man, I feel like this is what we should do. Let's come together. Because people wanted us to be when the first match we had, excuse me, my allergies are kind of killing me right now.
You're good, man. If you want to drink some water, you're good, man.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. This is the most I've ever talked in a while, so it's
I'm
nice.
sorry.
No, don't worry about it. You're perfectly fine, man. I love talking too. So when the very first match Matt and I had, there was even some of the fans, the loyal fans, they were like, "Oh, I think we sent the new tag team in the future." And him and I kind of laughed at it because it's not that we didn't want to do it. Like, we wanted to, but I was starting a singles run, and he started getting a singles run, so we really wanted that singles run for a minute. And I have just gotten out of a tag team, too, so I didn't want to go right back into one.
Mm-hmm.
So then after the last match I saw him do, I believe it was a 4-way. It was like him, Owen, I think Funny Bone was in it. I'm not completely sure. I just met up with him in the back, and we talked, and I was like, hey, man, look, I think this is what we need to do. If this is how you're feeling, like, let's use this. And that's what we did, and that's how the Unguided came about, you know? We represent, the only people we represent is ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We represent those that feel like they don't have a path, or they don't know where they're going to be, but they're going to do anything to make sure they get on the path, on their right path. It may not be the right thing that we're doing, but if that's what we have to do, it's what we're going to do. And you can be against us, you can be with us, but if you get in our faces, then you pretty much know the rest of the story.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. As a wrestling fan, this is just the best. Like, I really cannot wait till, you get into these big companies, because I know you will. You're definitely gonna get in these companies sooner or later. And the story that you have, first, you played as Dick Grayson, and now I'm slowly seeing you in an Jason Todd type of way, like a Red Hood, Arkham Knight type of versions. Like, I could see you in two ways. I could see you in the Batman Beyond movie, The Return of the Joker, how Tim Drake was the Joker and he didn't even know about it or something like that. Or I could see you as just being Jason Todd, who follows by his own rules and is just tired of all the crap and everything. So this is just the coolest storyline I've ever got to see on your side. This is awesome.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And it's funny too. Like, I've literally had a fan. He's very much older than me. He came up to me one time after a show, and he literally told me, he's like, dude, you make me feel like I'm a 12-year-old kid again watching WWE or WWF, whatever it was called. And so, of course, me not really caring about the fans, I was like, thank you, man. But on the inside, like, that really made me feel a certain way, because I've never had anybody tell me that before. Like, I've always had people just come up to me and they're like, hey, man, that was a good match. And I was like, thanks, man. But but having that dude or that fan come up to me and say that, it was a really cool feeling.
That's awesome. That's really cool to hear. All right, so we're gonna get some fun questions for you. Have you played any of the Arkham games?
I have. I've played all of them.
What's your favorite and what's your least favorite?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably my favorite is Arkham City.
Uh-huh.
Arkham City is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because the whole story with just Batman and Joker in general. Like, Joker's basically like on his deathbed, and he's just like, well, if I'm gonna be on my deathbed, I'm gonna take Batman with me.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, sorry, man. I'm ordering.
No, you're
food
good,
right
man.
now.
You're good. You're good.
You're good.
Yeah, what was your pickup time, guys? 18, and did you pay for everybody?
All right, sorry about that, man.
You're fine.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So that whole story with Joker was basically like, hey, I'm gonna be, if I'm on my deathbed, I'm gonna bring Batman with me, but I can get Batman to find a cure for me. And then at the end, he has the cure for him, and ultimately, like, Joker, like, he kind of screws himself over. Like, he stabs Batman in the arm, which makes him drop the cure for the disease he had. And then just that feeling of that visual of Batman having Joker in his arms, and like, you just have this look on Batman has this look on his face like he just doesn't know what to do anymore. Like, he's like, I've lost basically the one enemy that really made this fun. Even though that's like a weird way, that's a weird way to look at it, but it's true. It's like, without Batman, there would be no Joker. Without Joker, there would be no Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that's my all-time favorite one. Arkham Knight is right behind that.
Uh-huh.
My least favorite is Arkham Origins.
I think everyone agrees with you on that one, though.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Arkham Origins, it was a good game. I loved the story behind it. It was cool. The only thing I didn't like is technically it says it in the name. It's Origins. It's supposed to be like a prequel and stuff.
Yeah.
The most thing I had a problem with was like, okay, if this is a prequel basically to how the Arkham stuff happens, why is like Batman in like an armored suit when in the Arkham Asylum game he's basically like an updated animated version of the suit.
Mm-hmm.
And just some of the stuff like with the story wise, it was just kind of weird. And of course for me it just wasn't the same without Kevin Conroy voicing as without Batman.
That's a big one.
But I thought the dude that voiced, I always forget his name, but the guy that voiced Batman and Troy Baker as Joker in Arkham Origins, I thought they did amazing. But it's a good game, good story, but it's not one I'll want to play over and over.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I agree with that 100%. I agree with you. You know, for me personally, Arkham City and Arkham Knight are also right there in between. I don't know why, but for me, a little bit, it's Arkham Knight's my favorite because of, like, the whole Batman seeing Joker. And it's like, in that one, you, like, slowly get to realize that, like, even if Joker's not there with Batman, like, it's kind of, not insane, but like you said, a piece of him died when he was holding Joker. That, like, this isn't, you know, what he wanted to do anymore, and now it was really good. I love the whole. You know, they're doing a new one. It's a Court of Owls. They're gonna do it. Arkham game.
I've heard, and I'm very excited for that one. And I hope they're saying what they're gonna do is they were gonna make it co-op, so you get to play as Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I wish that was.
I'm really hoping they stick with that because I think that'd be so cool to do is to have a co-op Batman game, and you get to play as the dynamic duo.
No, I wish. I mean, time will tell. All right,
yeah,
this is a big one. So you there's a lot of them. So take your time. Favorite DC animated movie?
Ooh, favorite DC animated movie. Oh, that's a tough one. It would have to be Under the Red Hood.
That's that's right there. That's mine too.
Yep.
Under the
Red Hood. That's one I will go to every time to watch over and over, just because like that was kind of my introduction into the Jason Todd Red Hood. Like I've heard the story and stuff, but that was really my introduction into Jason Todd becoming Red Hood and that whole story. So that's mainly why. It's just that was my introduction to the Red Hood.
Same thing for me. I didn't know much about Jason Todd until watching that, and that's also my first like visual of Jason Todd like animated. Yeah, I didn't know the comics that well by at that age when I was watching, you know, the Under the Red Hood. Okay, this one is, you know, this is, I don't want to put you under pressure. This is favorite DC show and episode. So, you know, do which one with that question.
The favorite DC show and episode.
Yeah. So, like, I'll give you an example. For me personally, you know, Teen Titans is my favorite show, but if I had to pick a show, like, for an episode, it would be, you know, Justice League, and it would be Unlimited, and it would be the epilogue episode. You know Epilogue?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, like, my favorite one, because, you know, we never got an ending to Batman Beyond, and that was, like, a perfect ending.
Yeah, it's been forever since I've seen that, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Right now my favorite show is Titans.
Mm-hmm.
But like I can't pick an episode because like all the episodes in my opinion, even some of the filler episodes have been really good. Okay, until I can pick a favorite episode in Titans. My favorite show besides Titans for the episode was The Flash, the CW Flash with Grant Gustin, season 1, and it was the mid-season finale when we finally got to see him square off with the Reverse Flash.
In the football field?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Because I love the Flash. Like if I like for my DC, like if I could read DC stories in this order, it would go Batman comics, Flash comics, and then Green Arrow comics.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was that episode in the football field, because that was the first time we really kind of get to see the reverse Flash and him kind of square off, and you see the Flash. He's outnumbered by like the first time they meet. It was so to me, that's my favorite episode.
All right. Wow. Yeah, I agree.
I could have copped out and said season 2 of Titans, the ending episode when Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing, but I feel like that'd be too much of a cop out.
No, yeah, I hear you. I hear you on that one. For me, when it comes to Titans, I'm a huge. Again, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Teen Titans the show. So when I heard Titans came out, I was insane about it. Live action Robin. My favorite episode would have to be the Jason Todd one, the one where Robin's circus family is getting assassinated.
That actually, now, fuck, why didn't I say that? Because I loved that episode so much. It was just because, you just, not only, did we get to see, a live-action Jason Todd finally, but, the scene when he's kicking the cop's ass.
Yeah.
And, he's basically, going against, what he was taught by Batman. And, to me, that was oh, we got a glimpse of him, going into the Red Hood. That was so sick. So for me, yeah, if it's not that Flash episode, it's definitely the Jason Todd episode in Titans.
How did you feel? I'm sorry, I'm creating new questions, but we are almost done with the DC portion. We're gonna get to Power Rangers, but there's very little Power Ranger stuff. The Titans one. How did you feel about the finale of the first season? No, was it? Yeah, it was the finale. It just didn't feel like a finale. It was the Batman episode.
When he had the vision of him fighting Batman.
Not the vision. It was the season 1. It was the one where Dick Grayson wakes up. All we know is he went into the house, but we don't know what happened afterwards. And then we just wake up into the next episode where Dick Grayson wakes up in his perfect life, living in his perfect house with his kids. And then Jason Todd comes to him with the wheelchair, remember? And he
Oh yeah. I'm kind of that's probably my least favorite episode.
Mm-hmm.
Not mainly just for the Batman part, because there was moments where you could tell that Batman suit was just not finished, and it looked like it was just cheaply made. So I personally didn't like that episode. I did like the idea that we got to see what Dick Grayson's life could have been when he left Batman, or he left the superhero life.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not really one I would want to watch over and over, if that makes sense.
No, it does. That's why I pointed out that episode, because that's the one that had half the people liking it, and then half the people are like, what was that? What did we just see? Because it has nothing to do with the storyline, and it was the finale. So to give that as a finale, people were not happy. But season 2 definitely paid it off.
100%.
I want to go back to the specific thing, the favorite DC show. Let me get a little bit specific, because I'm really curious. Let's say animated. Let's say I gave you Justice League Unlimited, Teen Titans, anything you could think of, any animated DC show. What would you say is your favorite? And if you could, just give me an episode, not even name. If you can't remember a name, give me a description.
Batman the Animated Series.
Perfect.
And it was there's 2 episodes.
All right.
I don't remember the names of them, but it was when Harvey Dent became Two-Face. And when we got our first introduction as Joker.
So the original first season. That's original first season. All right.
Yes, exactly. And because mainly because to me those even though the show in a way it's very dark, to me those 2 episodes were the darkest, because even though it was a kid show and they couldn't really show Joker like killing anybody, like you clearly see in his shadow he's like stabbing the dude with a pen. Even though it's only one stab, you just see that and you're just like, oh, I thought this was like a kid show. And then like and then with Two-Face, like when he's coming out of the hospital bed and like he's covering his face.
Julie Taylor?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
But when like he comes out of the hospital bed and he comes out of the hospital room and his face is all messed up and he looks and you just see like what the ACE chemicals like did to him and stuff. I was just like, oh god, that's gnarly looking. So those two episodes specifically and the animated series show were my all-time favorite.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot Batman, but yeah, that's definitely everyone's favorite show of DC. Yeah. I gotta mention this because this is a different portrayal of Batman. We see like a teenager, through high school. We're seeing a version of Spider-Man through this Batman. How do you feel about Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond?
I personally liked it. I thought it was cool, and it was a different take on Batman. I liked the idea of like Bruce Wayne, like he's the Alfred of this new Batman now. And it was a more very futuristic Batman. So I liked it. It was really cool. There was actually a time where I was actually going to do like a Batman Beyond fan film with a couple guys, but it never fell through.
Oh, that's the thing.
Yeah, I was actually going to play Terry McGinnis, which was even way cooler.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, but it never happened. The dude just like stopped calling me or whatever.
Damn.
So who knows? Maybe I might just actually do it myself. So,
hey man, like I said, Prince of Gotham was awesome. I mean, there's only I believe 2 or 3 episodes, right, of Prince of Gotham.
Yeah, I kind of had to take I still plan on finishing it. I still plan on doing episode 3. I just had to kind of take a break from it because a lot of the people that I was asking for help or could help me with it, they just would not want to help me out with it, or they would just kind of bail on me last minute. And I really didn't want to rush. I didn't really want to rush it and stuff. So I just kind of was like, and wrestling was starting to pick up, so I didn't really have the time. So I was like, you know what? I'll take a break. I'll come back to it eventually. I promised myself I would, but right now I just need to kind of take a break from it. What's actually really cool because of what's going on with, everybody kind of like being, quarantined in their own houses and stuff. I've actually been in the process of creating my own Joker fan film.
Oh, I cannot wait. That's awesome.
I was really I loved Mark Hamill's Joker. I love all the Jokers but Jared Leto's. I know some people might like Jared Leto's. I don't like Jared Leto's Joker, mainly because of the laughter. The laughter is what killed me. I liked the look they were doing. I liked what they were going for. They were kind of going for the gangster look. But for me, it was just the laugh. For me, for Joker, if you're gonna sell me on Joker, your laugh is what's gotta sell me.
Yeah.
If your laugh doesn't sell it for me, then I'm not a fan of your Joker. I'm sorry. You could be the most badass looking Joker. You could be the most craziest Joker personality-wise. If your laugh doesn't do it for me, I'm not a fan of it. Sorry. But I love Jack Nicholson's. I love Mark Hamill's. Like, Mark Hamill is my go-to Joker. I loved Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Joaquin Phoenix did amazing.
I saw your gear. I saw you when you had the championship. I saw you come out with that Joker-inspired gear.
Yeah, Halloween is my favorite. Halloween is my favorite holiday. So if there's ever any time I'm able to bring wrestling and Halloween together, I will go all out. And that year I did Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. I came out, I did the dance and everything, in my ring entrance. I came out with the stair dance music. So it was awesome. It was very awesome.
Yeah, man. I remember seeing photos and videos. I loved it. I thought it was great. That was hilarious. Since we talked about CW and talked about Flash, one of the CW's own Mount Rushmore type person, you could say, Stephen Amell, who plays Oliver Queen and Arrow. He
Yeah.
went from the Arrow show to kind of doing a little bit in pro wrestling. How do you feel about that? How did you feel about the whole, SummerSlam Stardust thing to actually going to do a singles match with Christopher Daniels, a legend in Impact and ROH, doing it at All In?
I thought it was really cool. I kind of saw it coming when he did the whole Stardust angle, and because Cody Rhodes played one of the villains in the TV show, so I kind of saw it coming. I wasn't bitter about it. I thought it was awesome, and for me, I was just like, "Hey, man, he's pulling it off," and I gave the dude so much props. Like, he really pulled it off. So I thought it was, me personally, I thought it was really cool.
Did you watch the All In pay-per-view?
I did, yeah, I really did.
Yeah,
I loved it. I loved it. It was besides New Japan Pro Wrestling, like New Japan Pro Wrestling makes me feel like a little kid watching pro wrestling again.
Yeah.
But All In really made me feel like really that was the first time in a while, besides Japan, like really getting me on the edge of my seat. Like, oh man, like this is awesome.
Yeah. So since you brought up New Japan, I wanted to ask you. I saw a photo of you, in the I don't want to call it the performance center, the dojo. I know it's like the training dojo, right? The one that's in like America, right?
Yeah, the New Japan dojo in LA.
Yeah. How was it there? Can you give me some of the experience?
Yeah, it was so cool, and it was so awesome. Just being able to go there, being able to be trained by Shibata, which was amazing. Which, by the way, he is a big teddy bear. I'm gonna say, like, I was expecting to go in and it was gonna be like military, like super serious, and all this stuff. And the minute we started like doing rolls and we got in the ring, and the minute like I see him smiling and laughing and he's having a good time teaching, I was like, this is what I'm expected for the next 4 days. Like, this is it relieved so much stress from me. It was awesome. And it was very cool. So the training, it was we got like a very taste of what the training was, and it I'm not gonna lie, it kicked my ass for sure. That was the most squats, the most push-ups I have done since like track and field, and it really was killer. But it was so cool. I was like, it was such a different type of training I was used to, and it really made me like, it was like, okay, if New Japan's what I want to do, like, this is what I gotta look for. So it was really cool. It was probably the best 4 days of my life.
That's awesome. So New Japan's like where you wanna set yourself to be. That's where you see yourself at the end game of it all, right? You want to be in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
Who is someone you'd want to face?
There's a couple names I really would want to face. Kenny Omega obviously is one of those names. Whether he was in New Japan or he's in AEW, he's one of those names.
Mm-hmm.
Kota Ibushi is another one. Okada is another. The number one I really would want to have a match with, just because like I love his gimmick, I love his character, is Naito.
Naito. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Naito. I just love he just plays that, just like he's like, I don't need to be here, like I'm good, but like he puts on like a fucking awesome match. So yeah, those like Omega, Ibushi, Okada, Naito's number one if it comes to New Japan.
Yeah, Naito, I've never seen a reaction as big as Naito when he won the dual championships at Wrestle Kingdom.
Oh man, even though I wasn't at the Tokyo Dome, I was as loud as I could be, just as loud as everybody at Tokyo Dome was. Like, the fact that he goes down now as the first ever dual champion for New Japan Pro Wrestling is awesome, and he is well deserving of it. Well deserving of it.
Mm-hmm. Were you planning to go to the MSG, the second ever MSG, New Japan Pro Wrestling show?
No, I never got a chance to go to him. That's a show. Wait, repeat the question. Sorry.
I said, did you ever go to the first ever MSG show, and would you ever go to the second one that's coming up in August, I believe?
No. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to go to the MSG one. I really wanted to, but I didn't get a chance to. I really want to go to the next one. I just haven't had a chance to look at anything for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see. I would love to go. I would love to go to it though, just because one, I've always wanted to go to Madison Square Garden. Whether I'm a fan or I'm wrestling on it, I've always wanted to go.
Uh-huh.
But I have yet to experience a New Japan Pro Wrestling show live. So that's I would love to go to the second one. I hope so.
All right. I mean, hey, let's hope. I believe you'll 100% make it at MSG, and you will be wrestling at MSG.
Thank you, man.
Of course. All right. So I'm gonna give you some Power Ranger related questions. This is from my friend Trevor Brooks. Huge fan of yours too. All right.
All right.
So, what is your favorite season?
Mainly because of the Psycho Rangers.
I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit. Can you repeat that?
No, you're good. I'm probably just driving at a bad spot. It was Power Rangers in space.
In space.
Mainly because of the Psycho Rangers.
Uh-huh. Did you like the Forever Red show?
I loved the Forever Red. That's literally my top episode I will go to watch every time is the Forever Red.
All right. Who's your favorite villain?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot with that one.
I told you to give me some hard questions. I gave you the warning.
I'm gonna have to say Lord Zed. Lord Zed was my favorite. Yeah, Lord Zed is my favorite because he's like the ultimate bad guy when it comes to Power
I
Rangers.
agree. I was definitely scared shitless of Lord Zed at one point.
Yeah, what other villain on any TV show or even a movie? It's just muscles and just metal, and you could see his brain. For me, I started watching Power Rangers at the time of Lightspeed and Time Force. Okay.
And I was scared shitless during the whole Lightspeed saga between the 6th Ranger, between the whole Poison Mark and all that.
Oh yeah.
For me, I felt like that was probably the worst kind of villains you can find in the show. But I agree with Lord Zed. I definitely would never ever be in a room with Lord Zed.
No.
All right, here. This is a hard one because for me, I would never even be able to answer this. Who's your favorite mentor?
Say that again.
Who's your favorite mentor in the Power Rangers, saga?
Mentor?
Yeah, like mentor.
Oh. Oh man, I feel like the obvious choice would be Zordon.
Uh-huh.
But me personally, I would have to say, I don't know how well this season gets much love. I would have to say Tommy when he was on Dino Thunder.
Oh, of course, yep, the Golden Black Ranger.
One because not only was he a ranger, but he was a mentor, and he was a mentor that's been a ranger, and he basically went through it all.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he was able to kind of be like, look, I know what you guys are going to go through. I've been through this, but I'm here for you. And the fact that he was still being a mentor as he was being a Power Ranger at the same time, that to me was like, oh, this is a dude that's lived it, so he's going to be the mentor now. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'd have to say Tommy in Dino Thunder, but obviously all-time mentor is Zordon.
Yep. All right. Yeah, I think both those answers are as good as they can be. I think I agree with you. JDF definitely definitely had an awesome role into Down of Thunder. I remember that, and I loved every moment of it. Did you like the
Oh
episode
yeah,
where he had to battle himself, like his old?
I love that episode. That's probably my favorite episode in that is when he's kind of going through his past and fighting his other Ranger forms. I thought that was really cool.
All right, next question. What is your favorite Megazord from any show?
Oh man, Megazord. Oh man, see, like they're all so good in their own way. Megazord. I'm gonna go with the White Tiger Megazord when Tommy became the White Tiger Ranger. Because like that was the only, like, I believe, I could be wrong, but that was probably the first Megazord that could be its own Megazord without being connected with any others.
I think you're right. I think that was the first time they did show that. Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I was like, oh, he doesn't need any others. Like, that's awesome. And plus, too, like the white tiger theme, like was so badass to me. Like the Power Rangers had their own theme, but the fact that like the white tiger, even though when he was the Green Ranger, he had his own theme. But when he was a White Tiger Ranger and he had the theme for that one, I was like, oh, that's so badass. So I would have to say the White Tiger Megazord.
All right, awesome. What did you think of the
if not the White Tiger Megazord, it's definitely the Astro Megazord from
space.
Oh,
the Astro, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I love the Astro. What did you think of the 2017 movie?
Okay, I don't care what anybody says. I personally loved it. I loved it because they took kind of a realistic take on it. It was very modern in its own way, and it just was it was very different, and I liked that. What really sold me on it were the suits. I liked that the suits weren't, just they weren't just skin. They weren't just more suits with like shiny helmets. Like they made it look like it was alien. It was actual armor because the suits are supposed to be basically armor. So I thought it was a really cool take on those.
Yeah, no, I saw you actually, I don't want to say cosplayed, because it was definitely part of your gear. I heard the story, because again, I watched the podcast. Your friend got you the Red Ranger helmet, and you wore it down your entrance, right?
Yeah, it was actually my fiance got it for me.
Oh, your
for
fiance?
For my birthday.
Oh, wow.
And I was, it was so cool, because I've always wanted a Power Ranger helmet. But the fact that it was actually like from the 2017 movie and not one of the originals, it was even way cooler. And I've always wanted to be the Red Ranger, so the fact that it was the Red Ranger helmet, I was like, yep, definitely gonna have to come out with this in a wrestling show, and I did.
How was the crowd's reaction during that, other than your own?
They were. Some people were like, really, a Power Ranger? And then some people were like, dude, the Power Ranger helmet is fucking dope. So it was somewhat half and half.
I hear you. I loved it. I saw as many photos, and I saw a brief, small video. And yeah, you look like you came out. You hit the pose and everything. I thought that was awesome.
Thank you.
Who would you say is your favorite Power Ranger? And I think you may have already mentioned it, by the way you're talking about your favorite Megazord, your favorite, mentor. But I'll ask anyways, what would be your favorite Power Ranger? Who would be your favorite Power Ranger?
It would hands down have to be Andros from space.
Oh, okay.
In space. Yeah. Because Power Rangers in Space was really the first season I started watching. Uh-huh. And I loved the costumes. I loved the theme song. I loved everything about Power Rangers in Space. And he just, I really can't say what it was about him specifically, but I loved his Red Ranger. Going back and watching it, it was probably the fact that at first he didn't really want to have a team. And then he was like, I'm actually going to need a team if I want to be able to, take down the bad guy. So to me, it will be Andros from Space.
All right. All right, that's all our Power Ranger questions. We did all the DC questions. I'm trying to make sure I got them all. All right, yeah, it looks like it's everything. And back to the wrestling ones, just like two more. I wanted to know what's next for your career. You know, again, you're part of the Unguided. What any goals you ever want to accomplish?
Just right now, once things get start picking back up, Matt and I just plan on taking over.
All right.
That's it. That's the goal right now. We just want to take over and we want to be seen.
All right. Now I gotta ask for myself and hopefully for those other Nightwing fans. Will we ever get a chance to see you in the Nightwing, kind of wrestling gear again?
I can't say. I don't really have an answer for you when, but I do plan on doing a very different take on a Nightwing themed gear.
All right, now I get something I'm excited for.
Yeah, I'll say it like that. Just, I would like to kind of do the Nightwing thing again, but I think this time around it'd kind of be like my own take on it.
That's awesome. Are you planning to introduce that soon? Maybe to the next Mecca?
We'll see. Who knows? I won't say no, but I'll definitely leave it on the table.
All right. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. Let me just end off the podcast. What do you want to say anything to the people that were listening?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much for listening and then hanging out. If you guys ever want to if you guys ever want to check my stuff out, you can follow me all over on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Facebook is Damian Drake, Damian, not E-N, Damian, Drake. On Instagram, it is all lowercase, Damian Drake, LV. And same thing for Twitter, Damian Drake, LV. And you can definitely check out my YouTube channel. As my man Eric has said before, I do little fan films. I recently started doing box openings for action figures. I recently started becoming an action figure collector. So you can definitely check that out. You can just type in Damian Drake. You should be able to see my channel. It should be one of the first ones that pop up. If anybody would like any merch, you can contact me through any forms of social media, and we'll make something work.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening to the ARWP podcast. We'll see you guys next week.
See you later.